I'm a seed collector. You know, I collect seeds like kids collect baseball cards. So going to Anson Mills is like total overload, man. Like all those rare seeds that nobody else has and are so important to our food here in the South. I've known Glenn for about 10 years. He's the reason that I'm addicted to seed saving. You know, he's not only a source for products and seeds, but for history, because he's so obsessed with the food of this area that he knows everything there is to know about it. And that's what I'm trying to do here, is recreate the food of this region. And he's the expert.
So it's perfect that we're doing a grain dinner then.
Yeah. Yeah, this is our favorite stuff, man. And I haven't done one, so I'm pretty excited about it.
It's the most romantic thing in the world, but until you actually grow it hands-on, you have no idea what you're doing. There's no way. I keep looking back on it, and the more I do it, the more I see what I was reading and the way I was interpreting it without farming didn't work. It doesn't even work going into the pan a lot of times for these old things that don't have modern recipes out there, because this stuff's pretty kinky. You know, this doesn't work like sesame seeds, and it doesn't work like flour when you make flour out of it. It doesn't have corollaries in our lexicon. You've got to go back 150 years and look at the receipts from there. And this is another peculiar thing, since y'all are from the northern part of the world. In the South, we're bifurcated. We have a bunch of wealthy white people who could afford to write books about what some really smart black people were doing. So hence a lot of people were taking notes watching. Again, anecdotal. And so our recipes, you raise an eyebrow and go, well, let's go back out to the kitchen garden, or let's go back up to the field, grow the food, bring it back in, and it's a whole new world. And Sean particularly has been actually getting into the soil and then taking that experience of growing something right into the kitchen. That whole idea is an entirely different kind of cuisine. And I actually did that same cathartic deal. I had my epiphany when, with corn, that I just broke myself in the fall, ground it myself, then immediately made cornbread and a pot of grits from that corn. That was an epiphany. I'm standing over it going, I cannot believe this is the same dish. It doesn't even seem to relate to modern food, machine produced. If we just grow this and we don't think about the last 5 years of crops and the next 5 years of crops that affect the flavor of what we're looking at out here in this field, it doesn't work for the long term. Because just saying, oh boy, we have Benny this year. Well, you know, it won't be any good 2 years from now unless we grow the right things when we come back to do it again. This is a drought-tolerant crop. It droughted out here horribly. All the crops around here that were modern pretty much died. This one is thriving. The idea is, if you can do it without water, without chemicals, and you've got a sequence going and you're on your own seedsman, you end up having nothing on the farm. The only thing you're exporting is flavor. The only thing that you're working with is the soil. If you get to those two things, you've reached parity with the universe, I think, because the soil is the only thing that's going to work for the long term. So in doing this, you've got a functional reason. It's a neem suppressor. You've got a agronomic reason. It's a sequence of crops that affects the next crop in flavor and health. You've got a cultural reason, because this came here from Africa. And last, you cannot have the cuisine that goes with this plant unless you grow this plant this way. If you get the plants that fit that era, you have the cuisine.
All right, this is your first course tasting. Here's the other sunflower. I need one more first course tasting.
Make sure that everything ends through all my memories in the back of my home.
Okay, let's go. Let's split this out. Let's split that.
Right by the places we could always be.
Let's go, let's go.
Go back to where you once came, said Paul the Christ. Pick up the pen and finalize it here on the line. And the flowers all froze and the moon had just set in the right. She looks at me now like a child looks through fire.
We need one more going out. Table. Run the shit. No.
I'm waving this around. I'm not a member of the Communist Party. I swan. It's a good thing to make a point with. You'll understand or else, right?